Well, what do we have here? Looks like episode 25 is happening right about now. This is NerdinIn. You are in the right place. This is a place where it's kind of like a bunch of homies just gathering. Obviously, we are in the pandemic, and it's a difficult thing to do when you want to hang out. So we're here hanging out. It's kind of like a book club, but instead of talking about books, we're drinking and talking just about random nerd shit. How about that? My name is Omar, and I'm from Dallas.
What's up, guys? My name is Vince, and I also live in Dallas. What? So I got a question.
Yes, sir.
In each of your episodes, like, you do introductions.
Yes.
Like, I feel like, especially maybe because I'm a subscriber, and I watch the episodes. I'm like, okay, I know who the people are.
Okay.
So I just want to get your take on it.
On like the introductions?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, why do you do introductions versus, like, do you feel like it's necessary to do introductions each episode?
Yes, I do. Because you never know, you can't assume that it's a regular listener. It might be the first time someone listening. And I feel like, again, Zoom, it's an easy thing for us to kind of use as a vehicle because everyone uses it, right? For school, for meetings. So, and actually, it's not bad when it comes down to kind of how it collects the video and the sound. It's better than Skype, I think. But again, I think the individual, like who you are, what's your name, where are you from. We all originally were all in the same place before. This was like back in the day. We were all in the Bay Area for many years, and we're all just hanging out. We're all homies. But now all of us live in different places all over the U.S. So that's pretty much why we do that.
Okay, gotcha.
Just some kind of like place setting, some kind of like place making, some kind of like create a little commonalities.
Gotcha. All right, cool.
And dude, I appreciate you as a listener, and I appreciate you are our first listener that we are having on. And I'm so hyped because, like, actually you're my friend now, like, and we're homies and we talk, and we actually watched the Super Bowl together last week.
Yep. And I want to apologize again on air for cutting your audience in half, because I'm not going to be watching this episode that I'm on.
That's pretty fucking hilarious, bro. So damn, it's pretty cold, huh? You're in Dallas? I don't know. It looks like you might be somewhere else.
Hey, listen, it just snowed. I don't know. I know that you're in Dallas now too, and I don't know which part of Dallas you're in, but over here on the northern side of Dallas, it looks like you're in downtown somewhere. But over here on the northern side, it snowed quite a lot. So I got all my buddies over here in the back. We're just hitting the slopes. You want to drive up, an hour, coming up to northern Dallas and, hit the slopes with us, man.
Did you see the crazy ass accident that happened in DFW?
No, what was that?
Oh my God, you gotta check that shit out. It was like 130 car pileup. Yes, I think 2 days ago. There was 6 deaths, and it's when it got really cold, like icy cold. Like, and the roads had like all this black ice.
Yeah.
Crazy ass video. Definitely not recommended for people that are of faint of heart. Don't want to watch that shit. But yeah, man, I watched some crazy ass videos the last few days. Just the polar vortex coming through like all the U.S. So
wait, so is it called the polar vortex, or?
Yeah, I mean that's what it is, bro. It's a polar vortex. Yeah, that's what's happening right now.
Vortex. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So
because I thought, I don't know why, like I know the polar vortex, but I was also thinking like in the span of whenever there's blizzards that come around, like it's like your annual super ginormous whatever blizzard, and they have some crazy name with it, somewhat like whenever there's a full moon, it's like, oh, it's the blood ox full moon tonight, or it's the blue star. It's you're only going to see it once every million years.
Hey, speaking of oxes, gung hai fa choi. Did I say that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's fucking Year of the Ox, baby. It's this fucking New Year. So this is like a New Year's celebration right now too. Hope you get your red cards and give them out too.
Yeah, your red envelopes. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, baby. That's right, man.
And you definitely want like, so I've, my background is like Filipino and Japanese, but I was Asian, in San Francisco growing up for most of my life. So Chinese Lunar New Year's for me was just about as big as regular New Year's. So like I was always around my buddies that were either Chinese or Vietnamese descent. And dude, I love snatching them envelopes, baby. I was like, I actually don't even think about Valentine's Day. Like the card that I want to get is the red envelope.
Yeah. Now, like me growing up, it was I don't know. I felt weird because even though like in my household we grew up with Chinese culture, just being American and in the US, it's still at least for me, like I don't know. I never really took to, all right, yeah, just giving someone money just for the sake of giving them money. And especially when you're a kid too, you get
Yeah.
tons of envelopes. I
Sure,
mean,
sure.
it was awesome. Like I always had money for stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just felt weird though. Like,
At least in February, right? At least in February.
yeah. But
Cool, man. Cool. So Vince, tell us a little bit about yourself since your first time on. I want to know your background. What brought you here to Dallas? What kind of fandom shit are you into? All that kind of good stuff.
yeah, so I came here to Dallas because it's basically in the middle of the US. Flights to Colorado are super cheap.
Sure.
So, I mean, you could pretty much get to anywhere in the US, any city, because it's basically like the biggest airport in the US that routes to just about everything. So that's kind of the reason why I moved out here. I mean, I also got a remote gig, so
Oh,
it made sense.
right on, man.
I mean,
So you moved out here and you moved here from, was it, you said Miami?
pretty much, yeah. I was born in California, but I moved from California to South Florida when I was 3. So I'm basically ultra Floridian.
Okay. So
Yeah.
did you ever like wrestle with crocodiles or alligators or?
Yeah, it was more like, pythons because, they're invasive. So what we would do is we would go out to the Everglades and onto our airboats and we go hunting for pythons, and basically you can catch as many as you want. And same thing with lionfish too. You go out in the ocean, kill as many lionfish as you want because
Those are the ones with the spikes on it, right?
yeah.
Yeah, we call them in Hawaii, we call them scorpion fish, but it's the same thing.
Okay, yep. So basically, you can kill all those that you want, throw them on a barbecue, and that's good eating, man. So
Wait, time out. So you've eaten python before?
yeah, bro, it's delicious.
What? Okay, so does it taste like chicken?
I wouldn't know if it would taste like. I can't say it tastes like chicken. Have you ever had frog before?
Yes, I have.
Do you think frog tastes like chicken?
I think frog tastes more like hen, maybe not chicken, like baby, like little baby chick, like little chickies, like not. It's different. It's just the skin is softer and it's like, the ligament's not as hard.
Yeah. Well, so I would say depending on the python that you got and how you cook it, it could taste rubbery-ish, kind of like an octopus. And then also, if the snake just recently had something to eat, you might get some extra protein or in there. You might
crazy.
You might cut it open. You might find like some other animal that the snake ate. You might get a little.
That's
surprise.
insane. So like, okay, so python, you're a fucking python hunter, bro. So like, what size pythons what's the biggest python you ever caught?
Like maybe 8 or 9 feet.
Dude, that's huge, bro. I freak out when I see like a 3 foot like babe king snake. Like anything that's moving around and it's not a toy, that's some scary ass shit. You're talking about 8-9 foot. That's like, bro, I feel like your level of like fucking machismo is kind of come up to here, bro. That's all you got. You got like you got that, you know, that, you know, real your voice. You carry a lot in your voice, bro. So like, I see where that comes from. Is you're a python killer.
Yeah, we go hunting for pythons, man. You go out there, band of brothers, have some few drinks. You have some guns and stuff. It's good
So
fun.
is that how you get them? You shoot them?
Well, listen, I don't think anyone's gonna watch this. Yeah, you just go out there and just shoot around. It's kind of like yeah, you're basically game hunting.
Okay. Is there like a mating call for the python? You go like you have like a little horn, like a python horn, like you call like like a little, I don't know.
I, I I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe we were doing it wrong all these years, and maybe there is like some call where you can actually get them to come out. I,
like Power Rangers, whenever they called their like swords, they would use like some kind of weird instrument or something, or at least a few of them did.
yeah,
Some of them just had to do a little dance. I don't know. I guess it depends. I mean, Power Rangers is like, I don't know how many generations now, but the Power Rangers that I remember, like they'd fucking like one of them would toot a little fucking horn, and then one would come out of a mountain and fucking come save the day. I don't know.
Well, that was just no. Was that all of them? I thought that was just the Green Ranger.
It was probably just the Green Ranger. Yeah.
He had like the nice flute thing.
Yes, which is so G.
Yeah.
It was so G. Like I was like, I never thought a woodwind would be so hardcore.
That was that was gangster. And I like, what was it? He ended up that dude who was also the White Ranger ended up getting together with Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, right?
Good for him.
But no, wait, yeah, I think he got, so I don't remember how the relationships went down, because wasn't the Red Ranger always into the Pink Ranger?
I think so. At least the way it was staged on the show, right? Because I mean, they're all kids, of course. There's a lot of like, testosterone and hormones going around. So it's like, fuck, those kids are hooking up.
Yeah. It was
all right. So we have a few topics tonight that I'm pretty excited about. Definitely The Last of Us. That's the first thing we should probably talk about. I was a hardcore gamer back in the day. So like, I don't think I ever told you, Vince, but I worked for SCEA, or Sony Computer Entertainment America, for like 3-4 years. This is like in my 20s. And I worked initially in like retail, but then eventually I got into marketing. So dude, I got to see the whole like life cycle of like games, like actually get to hang out, watch voice actors work on shit and record. I got to see like the full life cycle of like video games being made. So The Last of Us, that was a cool ass game. And that was also, for me, I took a lot of pride in it because it was something that was considered first party, which is a game that was made within the developers of Sony Computer, or Sony. So it wasn't like Konami or Capcom or Square Soft or Square EA, whatever they're called now. And The Last of Us, I guess there was some recent cast release where for the film that they're going to have, I think it's on HBO Max. It's the releases. They said that the main protagonists are going to be cast by none other than Pedro Pascal and Bella. Shit, I forgot her name. I know of her as the badass chick from not Winterfell, but from the North. But she's that little girl from the North.
Yeah.
And actually, the character's name is Bella, isn't it, in the video game? Did you play Last of Us?
No, I've never played it before. I've never even heard of it.
Oh, dude, it's a badass game.
Wait,
so I think
how old is it?
I think it came out maybe like in 2013, I think. But it's pretty much survival horror. It was made by Naughty Dog, which is interesting because Naughty Dog never really did those kind of games. But the graphics were fucking awesome. The cinematics were great. And I'm stoked because especially after seeing how successful, Pedro Pascal has been in Mandalorian, it's kind of again that fatherly figure guy, in Last of Us, which it's like, for the most part, a guy like the premise, no spoilers because this is a video game that came out a long time ago. I'm still saying it because Sean's not here to say it. But it's a guy that lost his daughter, and then he eventually met this girl. It was kind of like there's this different like I guess kind of somewhat virus. It's very kind of survival horror, Resident Evil, that kind of feel, that kind of vibe. Obviously Walking Dead, but there's more humanity, a human story to it. And the video game plays out that way, where it's a deep connection between like this father figure guy and the girl. But I think that I'm excited because I was a big fan of Game of Thrones until the last like 3 episodes, like most of the world. And those two characters for me were like 2 of my favorite characters. I feel like in that show, if you have a great death, that means you are a badass.
Yeah, yeah, that little girl, she was definitely one of my favorite characters. She she didn't care, who you were. She was still doing her thing, repping the North, and yeah, she gets killed by a giant. So definitely, definitely a great way to go out.
Agreed. What about Pedro Pascal? Have you seen him in anything else besides Mandalorian?
Yeah, I mean, he's been a whole bunch of stuff. Like he was in another Netflix show with, what was it, Ben Affleck. There it was like 4 military guys. It was him, Ben Affleck, and like 2 other dudes. They ended up going to someplace in South America and just taking all of their military skills to rob I don't know if it was a cartel owner or whatever. They ended up breaking into a house, and
Dude, I don't know if I even saw that movie.
I'm trying to remember what it was called. It was an all right movie. What was it called?
Can you get off, please? Let me disconnect.
Oh,
Yeah,
Triple
disconnect
Frontier.
is the right term.
Thank you.
What was it called?
Yeah, Triple Frontier.
Triple Frontier. You know what? Maybe I saw that and we watched the trailer, but we actually didn't watch it. If Shonda saw that Ben Affleck was on it, yeah, go ahead. You might want to plug it in for a little bit. If Shonda saw that Ben Affleck was on it, she'd probably want to watch it.
Affleck, not Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. I don't know. I'm not fucking English,
like,
so I don't.
Like the duck, man.
I don't say those names right. Oh, another show that I really love besides Mandalorian and Game of Thrones for Pedro Pascal. I loved him in fucking Narcos. He was so good.
So I watched a couple of episodes of Narcos. Yeah, he was he was wait, what's the what's his name?
I don't fucking remember his name in the show. Let me look it up. I guess I can look it up while you're talking about it.
Who's the main drug lord?
No, that's Pablo Escobar. No, he was not the main drug lord. No, dude, Pedro Pascal. No, dude, Pedro Pascal was like an undercover. He was like a DEA, bro.
Oh, that's right. Wait, who played Pablo?
I don't know, bro. It's besides the point, though.
Okay.
Just let's talk about Pedro Pascal. So he was pretty much, I think what I liked about his character, he had some very if you'd imagine him being some like undercover guy that was like a Mexican American or Latin American, and then working for the DEA, pretty much DEA, the sleaze bags. They're like the CIA, but in other countries, just focusing on drugs and pretty much doing any fucking kind of dirty, rotten scoundrel shit, all for the most part for country. But if you get caught, you're dead, and no one's going to ever say you did anything great. You'll get your flag burial. That'll be it. But I thought him as a character, he was very believable. I think that's what he brings. He brings those acting chops where you find him really like being like you're rooting for the guy. Like he's not just a dirt bag.
Right.
What's the name of the speaker?
The front yard.
It's not one.
Okay, you got to disconnect your thing then. Actually, Pedro Pascal, his full name is Jose Pedro Balmaceda Pascal. He's a Chilean American actor. And we also have someone here on our podcast from Chile who has yet to make her introduction, official recording, but she's with us on our threads and stuff. Another homie. She'll be on soon because she's a big fan of WandaVision. Yeah, so I'm stoked about Last of Us. I think that it's going to be really good. I can't wait to see it. I got excited about it so much that I actually went on YouTube and was just watching a bunch of the old like cinematics and the videos and stuff. And it's like, it's crazy how much they spend on like all the CGI, you know, the in-game videos. It's like some of that shit is actually, it's like a movie budget.
Yeah, no, I'm checking out some of it right now. It looks good. So I can tell you why I've never heard of it or never really played it. Well, first off, it's because it's a bit newer. You said 2013. Like I stopped playing video games a long time ago. And it's on PlayStation. I don't know if it's on any other system, but I never had a PlayStation.
Yeah, I told you it was a first party game, so most likely Naughty Dog will not make a game for Xbox or Nintendo. So that's that. So only if you don't have a PlayStation, you are out of luck. Most people don't have PS5 right now. Fuck you, scalpers out there. I hope you guys are losing a lot of money and not paying your rent and being sad about it. You shouldn't be fucking buying all the toilet paper. I mean, all the PS5s, man.
Yeah, I mean, really the only reason I would get not the only reason, but probably the only reason I would get a PlayStation is just to continue playing all the different Metal Gear like releases.
So what got you into Metal Gear? So I'm assuming your first Metal Gear, was it Metal Gear Solid?
Metal Gear Solid, yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, like I played like 4 Metal Gear games. I think, what was it some Patriots, no, Snake Eater was another one that I played. So anyways, I think I played 4 of them. And yeah, they're all on my friend's PlayStation because I didn't have my own PlayStation. So I would just go over to my friend's place and sometimes they'll like crash, whatever. And I would just, and because I didn't have my own PlayStation, I would just play throughout the night. So I would create my own account on their system so I can, save, wherever I last left off.
Wow.
And just play on that was me.
Okay.
But
all right. So with Metal Gear Solid, what is it that you liked about the game?
The biggest appeal to Metal Gear Solid is just, in my opinion, when I played that game, there was no other game out there that had the storyline, that had, the different characters and how they all related to each other. Like the story was just phenomenal. And of course, you play the second, third, fourth, whatever, and the story just keeps on expanding and expanding. And it's not out of the realm of Metal Gear. Like if you just jumped and started playing the third one or fourth one or whatever, like, and you've never played any of the games previously, you would think, man, it's so far out there, but it's not, because that's how Metal Gear has always been. Like they've had, what was his name? Mantis and Revolver Ocelot and all these guys. And just them having the story of like just all these different storylines, and like it was just never that far out there to where you can then bring in like a half, I guess he wasn't half cyborg to begin with, but Raiden, and then he eventually like became more cyborgish. Yeah, like that's what I think is so great about it. I just don't think, in my opinion, there's really any other game out there or storyline that really compares to Metal Gear. I don't know.
I gotta agree with you. And you know what? Let me take it a little bit further, because for our listeners out there, you all know I'm a perv. I was so blown away. I still remember one of my buddies saying, "Hey man, do you ever like peep a squeak people like do you ever like do little peep show shit like on Metal Gear and like look inside the cell, like look at different times, like because you look at different times and like sometimes she has like her shirt on, and then sometimes I'm like a little like 15-year-old kid, and then sometimes she's like taking her shirt off. Oh wow, it's different. Like dude, how crazy is it that like that little thing where you just ducking down and looking under a door, you'll see something different in a game. Like that is so
and the game developers, like obviously all of that stuff, like there's so many you wouldn't even really call them hidden gems, but it's like there's so many different small like intricacies within the game. Like you can have a variation of endings depending on how you play the game.
Sure.
And your whole storyline could change depending on like, which route you might go or what type of interactions you have with different people. And yeah, you would find all these different things within the game itself that like the developers of the game were just so smart that they're like, you know what? Hey, we just need to create different options for different people. And it's I don't even know how to explain it. It's
no. Okay, so let me go take it. I can explain it with you. We'll do it together. Vince. So there's something called like otaku and ohentai in Japanese language, and American culture. They understand it. It's very kind of like this kind of pervy vibe that you got. Like when you watch anime and you have like this old guy and then he looks at the young girl, and it's definitely pervy, but it's kind of like, again, that Japanese culture where the old guy sees a young girl and he still has his young mind. It's like, oh, and like sweat drops coming down from his forehead. So in Solid Snake, or not even Solid Snake, let's even go Metal Gear, the one with is it Raiden? The one with the white hair?
Originally I called him Raiden because I played Mortal Kombat, but then I think in the game they call him Raiden.
Okay. So in that game, I spent more time, rather than just being non-stealth, I didn't give a fuck. I wanted to find like all the posters. They had posters that you can open up in the lockers, and it was actually legit models in Japan, and they were like either not fully clothed or some of them just naked, and you take a picture and then you hear the guy say, he'd like, oh, perfect. Like, if you take a really good picture, they're like, oh yeah, like, you're kind of like really creepy shit, but you would appreciate it as a video game player and also understand some Japanese hentai culture or otaku culture. It's like just very, like you said, just gives something else that's not anything. It's not like something you experience in Super Mario, right?
But you know what? Okay, so I wasn't thinking about it in that sense. You brought the whole perviness to it, which I absolutely love, because you're right. Like the whole Asian culture in my mind, and from like the various times that I've traveled to like China and Japan and Korea, it's not good in my opinion. Like men in general, and I think you and I had a conversation maybe on this previously about how like emasculated they have become, and yeah, just them older men perving down on like younger chicks is not cool. But but you know what? As terrible as it is, it's somewhat normalized, and not in a good way either. Like that's just how I see it from like my interactions and from when I've been there.
I can agree with you 100%. I can tell you about an interaction where I was out with someone that was considered like my is it senpai? I forget if I'm saying it right, but he was like my mentor. He was my guy, my older guy. He was the older guy that worked for a different company, but he was like a older standing. So But there were times where with him, he would do things that were so different in American culture. It would be considered like sexual harassment. But in that culture, they'd be like, oh, you're just an old guy. Oh, weird. And I don't want to get into details of it, but you can imagine. And I think you saw a lot of that same shit too.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
And that's also why like the women there too are always thinking about like, oh, you know what? I don't want to have like my my body or my skin showing, or like the way that I walk or talk or dress and act. Like I don't want to do it, you know, definitely not like Americans where everyone just like flaunts, you know, their looks and stuff like that. Like a majority of, I would say, in my opinion, of like the different Asian countries that I've been to, like you have some women that are maybe like fashion forward and yeah, you know, they don't really care about that. And you know, they're also like very, very modernized in a sense where they realize that they're living in a culture and a country where it's maybe oppressed in that sense, but they're like, all right, they don't care, and they'll still, you know, dress slutty if they wanted to or whatever because they just didn't care. But a lot of the main society is not like that, and they think about, you know, how they dress. They want to be more conservative and dress down because they don't want to get perved on. And
no, for sure.
I totally get it because the dudes there are freaking pervs, man.
Big time.
For the dudes that aren't pervs, they're super feminine. Like they're all emasculated. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty different. But you know what? I think you got that in every culture. Because I was even in Spain. Like I remember Spain, you know, I know you're talking about maybe potentially moving there, but like I remember there was a bunch of very unique Spaniards. And then on the other tone, some very like hardcore aggro alpha, like Spanish guys that were like all up in the face of some girls that like I was like around, but I didn't really know them that well. So I'm not gonna jump to their side and defend them because I was from outside the culture. You know, I was not. I can't just jump in a lane that I don't know of, right? So like, I mean, I'll defend someone if they're getting fucking beat up on, but otherwise, it could be just a cultural indifference that we don't know about. So.
Yeah. I guess so. I mean, I could tell you that I don't know about Spanish men, but like France, for example, like it's very progressive there, but it's like that not only for the men but for the women too. Like
sure,
everyone just wants to have sex, so everyone is like super aggressive, and it's like you have like married dudes with mistresses, and the men's wives, like they know their husband's got a mistress, and it's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, that's some weird European shit. Like I was in France. This was like in my 20s, and I was at this party, and they had this little cake or pie. We were like all hanging out throughout the whole night. There was like 12 people there. It was like they all went to high school together, like an international school, have since graduated. Now they're like all in college, but we all got together. There was about 12 of us in the house, and one girl went up to the girl that I was with at the time and said, hey, do you mind if I share your boyfriend with you tonight? And I was just like, and then they were talking to French, so I didn't understand what the fuck was going on. She was French Vietnamese, my ex. And then she came to me and looked at me with her in front and said, hey, you want to do that? And I was like, is this a trick question? I was a 20-year-old kid, so like I didn't know what was right and wrong or whatever, but obviously I said no because I had some sense of American shame. So yeah, that didn't
right on that, man.
I bet you would have, you motherfucker, and that's why I like you.
I would not have second thought about that.
So let's jump into the next topic. The next topic for tonight is something that is very I hold very dear to my heart, Dave Chappelle. What do you think of that guy?
Best comedian. He's the GOAT of comedians.
He is the GOAT. He is the Tom Brady of comedy. Would you say that?
He is, yeah, in my opinion, because I think he's not I wouldn't call him a pioneer, but at least, so I'm a millennial, and watching MTV and seeing Chappelle show. Well, he was on Chappelle show was on Comedy Central, but like, when you went from black and white TV to color, and you have this whole progression of just media and technology development, and he was at least at the forefront of
for sure
when you had TV to be able to watch comedy instead of just needing to actually go to a theater and watch comedy. And he really brought he also brought a really interesting aspect to him just making fun of himself, and at least in that time where drugs, and even now looking back, how frowned upon marijuana was back then and still kind of is, and him talking about doing coke and crack and all that stuff, and really kind of semi fighting against the establishment, similar to in a obscure way to Howard Stern and him in radio, where you had the it's not the FAA, what is it, the
FCC.
Yeah, wait, what is it?
The FCC.
The FCC. Yeah. Fighting against these artists that are not just making a living, but making a real art of what it is that they're doing, and just being at the forefront of that.
Agreed, 100%.
In comedy, but he was at the early stages of when it was being mass publicized.
100% agree. I think a big part of that was he was on a platform where he worked in cable, so he was able to get away with a lot of shit that obviously was not censored as much. He was saying pussy, he was saying fuck, he was saying shit, he was saying asshole. He was able to be who he was, right? And he obviously talked about things too, like that you said, social, very, very social things that were considered, risque, like, crack and cocaine and cops, police brutality, like shit like that. There was a place for that. There was no place for that in regular standard television. So you couldn't talk about that shit. That shit would get fucking censored or would get fucking protested, or just cut out.
Yeah.
It would be edited out on the fucking cutting floor. It'd be done, right? Yeah. But so I'm bringing up Dave Chappelle because the Chappelle show, right? Chappelle show. Should be Dave Chappelle's show, but he never got much money out of it, and a lot of us, and he never talked about it. He's a total gentleman about being butt raped by Comedy Central for the last 20 years, but because he got out of his contract, he never really got all the money. People were saying he was supposed to get $50 million. He never got much out of it. But what's crazy is, and the reason I'm bringing this up is a recent development. He's been getting more, I think, savvy with kind of social media. He's been doing IG, Gram, he's been on the Gram, doing live videos, or he's been doing different YouTube posts where it's 10-minute stand-up comedy or 20-minute stand-up comedy, but he talks about a topic. So one that came out maybe a few months ago, I think he did it, and it was based on his relationship with Comedy Central, and it was called Unforgiven. And he was pretty much talking about why he pretty much was telling everybody the real story that he never answered to anybody, and pretty much said he got fucking raped. He was a young 20-year-old kid, and he wrote all these contracts and thought he was making all this, his art, his show, but he's pretty much just got stolen from him from a big corporate entity, and he never really got paid. So now fast forward to now, that was how long ago? he was even talking with his agent and professional like lawyers and stuff. They're saying, come on, man, there's something called latches. No, you can't. It's like you have no case. He went to Netflix because he has a little bit more power now, right? And Netflix just started like streaming the Chappelle Show, which is also being streamed on HBO Max.
Wait. I thought I saw. Didn't they cancel it?
Yes. So they canceled. Netflix canceled any streaming from Chappelle Show, and when Netflix did that, HBO Max I think followed suit. And the reason they did that was because Netflix listened to what Chappelle said. Chappelle said, I don't feel good about it.
Yeah.
Highly recommend if you haven't seen the stand-up. It's Dave Chappelle, Unforgiven, and then Redemption is part 2 version of it.
Okay.
So for the most part, what happened was he feels like he's got reparations back from Comedy Central. He says millions, but we don't know how much money he got. But he's literally got millions from Comedy Central, and he feels good about it now because now he actually feels like he got paid. And it's like a show that was called Chappelle's Show. He always got made fun of by his whole family because you got the Chappelle Show, but then Dave was like, I didn't make no money off that shit. Like,
listen, I need to get my reparations. I'm rich, bitch.
yes. So the part 2 of the Unforgiven is called it's a Bob Marley song, Redemption song, and it's like maybe 10 minutes. It's not that long, and he pretty much told everybody. He said thank you. For the most part, he said in Unforgiven, he said stop watching my shit. He's like, if you're a fan of me, don't watch anything. And then a Redemption song, he said thank you because you stopped watching anything that said Chappelle Show on it. It was worthless. There was no eyeballs from fans or anybody watching watching Chappelle Show on like YouTube, on like Netflix, on Netflix they can watch it on HBO Max. They stopped doing it, and then he got called directly by Viacom / Comedy Central, whoever the owners are of that show, and they pretty much worked out a deal. And he was like, what's funny about his stand up and his storytelling is it's so honest and so brutal. He was pretty much saying that, yeah, I like Netflix just because they weren't around back then. Because they'd probably be like a big network just like everybody else, just getting their money.
Yeah. You know why he's so good is that I think no matter who you are, like you can relate to him. And because he just keeps it real and he talks about topics, he continues to talk about topics that in the general scheme of things have I guess devocalized a lot of people because they're thinking about, what they say and how they say it, might look bad on them. And he just doesn't care. It's not that he doesn't care. It's that he's like, listen, people are smart enough to understand that I'm a comedian and the things that I'm saying, whether or not they be true or how he personally feels about them, at the end of the day, it's comedy and that's his business. That's what he does. And yeah, so he can make fun of anything. And as long as you always have in the back of your mind that, okay, he's not, taking it out personally, even though he probably, he doesn't, it's not even like he doesn't like gay people. I mean, I'd be making gay people jokes all the time. And I'd be making jokes about like Asian people and small dicks all the time. And, you can make jokes and just know that, hey, it's a joke. Don't take it so seriously.
Sure. No, for sure. And I think the big thing is Chappelle is like about his art, regardless of how risque his topics are. It's about entertainment. I mean, there's a line, especially these days, with a lot of the difficulty and realities of people having their livelihoods taken from them, be it like transgender or even gay people, because of the last, type of very harsh conservative ruling that, was stemmed from the government at the time.
Yeah, get rid of the whole politically correct mumbo jumbo. It's a joke.
Yeah. But what I'm stoked about is the fact that now Chappelle actually has the name right. So it's actually Chappelle's show. It's Chappelle's show again. So it's his show. And there's future forward. There could be some opportunity for him to do skits again and obviously do it on Netflix because obviously he has an ally in them. So
Listen, pay the man. Pay the man. He's a freaking genius. Okay.
he really is. He really is. And I appreciate him so much for everything he's done and everything that he's going to be doing again, like coming soon to Netflix near us. Um, Next topic I have tonight is what is it? Bum bum bum. Judas and the Black Messiah. So HBO Max, they've been doing this thing to try to compete with like Apple Plus and Disney Plus. It's not Apple Plus, it's just Apple, right? Apple TV, Disney Plus, Netflix obviously is the big clear winner at this point. But HBO Max has been coming through hard. I think every week or so they've been highlighting a new movie, and they've been releasing it same day release, same day streaming. They did it first with Wonder Woman 84, and then after that it was like a few weeks ago they did The Little Things, and then this weekend they did Judas and the Black Messiah. It's a film that is so powerful and so timely. It's really kind of like a biopic. There's a lot of history that's to it, but obviously there's some that's probably maybe slightly exaggerated, fictionalized. But a really great, fantastic actor, strong director. I think like a first time, kind of like a Hollywood director. He's done a lot of artsy shit before, and you can feel in the vibe. The soundtrack is phenomenal. I love the music. Music is a big deal for me when I watch films. But the main characters portrayed, it's Daniel Kaluuya, who is really big from obviously Get Out, Black Panther, and Queen and Slim, and then Lakeith Stanfield from Atlanta. Sorry for interrupting you, or sorry for bothering you. And what other movies has he been in that I really enjoyed? Oh, The Photograph. I fucking love that. That's with my gal Issa Rae. Really incredible film. Highly recommend it. Just came out. I'm not gonna, no spoilers. But it's very the way it's filmed, and because of the actors that they have, the director just really did a good job just letting actors go with it. Everything's very believable. You feel the stress and the civil unrest during the height of the Black Panther Party in the 70s, and like amazing. I really didn't know too much about this story, and I learned a lot about it. But
So is this portrayed? I mean, is this fictional or is this
it's based off a true story,
okay?
but it, for the most part, is breaking down how, just like the FBI killed and assassinated Martin Luther King, they did the same thing to this guy. I think it was Fred Hampton.
Okay.
So, our government, which, no surprise, our government are really good at killing people because we do. But getting away with it, that's another thing we do. Just like fucking piece of shit Agent Orange motherfucker getting away with his shit that he did. But highly recommend the movie. The movie's so good. I just watched it today, so it's very fresh in my mind. The acting's fantastic. And again, it's great to watch a film that, again, makes you reflect on what's happening now in society's ills. Even if the guy that plays the FBI agent, forget what his name is, but he's been in a shitload of films. Holly guy, or white guy. But even you could feel the points where he's working with who's that cross-dresser head of the FBI guy, J. Edgar Hoover, that's his name. He was portrayed by fucking Martin Sheen. It was fantastic. It's like probably the greatest Martin Sheen movie I've ever seen. I mean, he's been in a lot of good films, but this movie in this role, it was so understated. Like they're probably going to win some awards, definitely for costuming, because amazing, really good. But just talking about like I didn't know about the whole how the Black Panthers helped to kind of unify all these different groups. They reached out and they had something called the Rainbow Coalition. So he actually worked with like KKK, worked with the Chicano like drug lords, worked with like different Black gangsters, and they all were a part of something called the Rainbow Coalition. Fucking amazing, like highly recommend it. Really good movie.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll check that out tonight.
Yeah, so like HBO Max, again, they're doing something where obviously they're just trying to increase their subs just like us. We only have 13. You could be number 14 tonight. What's up? Come on. When you subscribe, hey, you know what?
Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, when you hit the subscribe button, you won't hear the ding. But guess what? We'll be like saying ding, 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 ding. Like we'll be happy about that shit. Especially since Vince isn't listening tonight. Yeah, man. I feel like what's cool about listening to podcasts is you hear about new shit that maybe you weren't into or you weren't going to get into. And it's like reading a book. I think when you hear someone's voice and they're talking, it's all words. It still helps you still create a picture in your mind. It's not like you're looking at the fucking picture of the video the whole time on YouTube or whatever, or Zoom. But it's like you make a connection with art and with things that inspire and kind of influence shit.
Yeah.
What's the last movie you watched? That's
last movie. Can't think of anything really good right now.
Fuck being good. Just what's the last movie you watched? Do you remember? Do you know that?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I watched a rerun of Ocean's 11.
Okay. Those movies are, I mean, obviously vastly popular during the whole 2000s because you got it was pretty much like the LeBron teams, right?
Right.
You had all these superstars on the team, superstars. You had Brad Pitt, you had George Clooney, you had Matt Damon, you had everybody else. You had everybody else. Like everybody on that fucking movie, right?
Yeah, no, it was good. Oh, okay. I can tell you one that's more relevant that I watched like a little while ago. Have you seen The Lockdown?
The Lockdown. It kind of rings a bell. What is this about?
It's with what's this chick's name? It's this couple that lives in London and they're on lockdown because of the pandemic. It's with Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway.
What?
And what's the dude's name?
Dude, Anne Hathaway is fine, man. I like her. The big titties.
And what's
big titties.
Yeah. Oh, and oh my God, I can't even pronounce his name. Chiwetel Ejiofor?
Yeah. He's an amazing actor.
Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know how to pronounce. I don't know, man.
Chiwetel Ejiofor? Yeah, Chiwetel. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's with them two, and it brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah, was it really good?
I mean, it's good. I just like both of those actors and just their chemistry on screen. I thought it was pretty good. The story was all right, whatever, but it's relevant to now. So basically, what happens in the movie is, they're a couple, they live together, they're kind of winding down and going through some tough times, and
Sure.
separating.
That happens.
Not, but then they get into but then they get into a situation where kind of like both their jobs collided with one another, and not to go into the whole story if you haven't seen it, but they get into an opportunity where they could steal from the company that Anne Hathaway works for, and basically use that money to not only make their lives better, but also give some of that money back to all of the frontline healthcare workers and stuff.
Oh, that's fucking dope, man.
So yeah, I mean, I like it. I like both of those actors. So I recommend it. I don't think they got great reviews or nothing, but I mean, I thought it was an alright movie.
Now I feel like first of all, no, that's a movie that I think I was going to watch on. Was it on Amazon? I think
it's on HBO.
Man. Oh, is it HBO?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like no, that's definitely a movie that I wanted to check out. I saw that movie. There's a number of movies that I have like on my watch list. But yeah, I definitely appreciate those two actors. So, Vince, you look like a little cold over there, bro. What's going on?
It's cold. There's as we talked about earlier, there's a polar vortex happening. So
yes, a polar vortex.
If it's gonna be cold, you might as well go out and just hit the slopes. You
might as well.
You might as well dress. If you're cold and you're dressing in cold weather clothing, you might as well do something active and go out and go skiing or snowboarding. So that's basically what we're doing.
No, I appreciate that 100%. Just for all of you listeners that maybe have never been to Texas before, Texas is fucking very, very warm, but it can be cold too sometimes, but not cold that we're experiencing right now. So we are expecting sometime this morning for it to hit below freezing. So we've had some like 15-degree weather the last week. One of which you'll see we talked about earlier about the DFW major 133 car pile up, 6 people died, sad, tragic shit. But we never get this cold. We never get this kind of weather. So like literally, like I went to the grocery store the other day and there was like so many fucking cars just waiting to get into the store. Everybody was, for the most part, survival horror, pandemic shopping. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to make everyone that I talked to, like, at least maybe I didn't talk to them that many people, but all the people I did talk to, like, they absolutely love this weather. Like, I was outside, and I don't know, I'll probably go for a run tomorrow morning, depending on how cold it is. But I'll probably just wear a little bit more clothing and still go for a run. But yeah, you gotta enjoy it when it comes around.
I mean, we're lucky right now because it's supposed to get really cold tomorrow. But right now, it's still showing that despite it showing snow, that it still is only going to be 20 degrees. So the 5-degree thing that they were talking about, that is looking like we may be clear of it. We'll see. Maybe it's going to be later.
Yeah.
But we are definitely under a winter crazy, once-in-a-generation advisory shit. So, yeah, man.
So the question is, do you believe in global warming?
Of course.
Yeah?
Come on, man. Yeah,
Okay.
dude, like seriously, 100%. So I lived on the coast most of my life in San Francisco. And then I lived in Hawaii for a few years, like 3-4 years. And now I live here in Texas. And I've seen in every place that I've lived so much change, and hearing it from people that have lived here and lived in the places for a long time, shit that just doesn't happen. Like in Texas, I think last year, so I work in insurance, that's my day job. And last year we had one day where there was literally 10 tornadoes that touched down. Never before has that happened. That's like an Oklahoma thing, not a Dallas thing. And that fucking happened in Dallas last year.
Yeah, that was wild.
You remember that shit?
Yeah. No, I mean, it touched down. I don't know where it touched down, but it was wild. I know, like, the storms here in Texas are definitely something I've never experienced. Because some of the storms here, especially last year, were like mini hurricanes. Like when the storms came, they hit hard. I mean, in Uptown, you had gusts of wind from a thunderstorm that basically knocked over a crane, and that crane crashed into buildings. And I don't know if it ended up killing somebody.
Yeah, I killed a few people, but it destroyed the building. They had to they had to take all those people out of the condos or apartment buildings wherever they lived at and shit. So it was some crazy shit. I've never seen anything like that. Again, the funny thing is, because of it being the pandemic and because of just resources being what it is, we still have a lot of Californians coming to Texas. And like, actually, I was at one of my best friend's house, Trey, who you met last weekend. And his first weekend, we were at his house, or actually second weekend, and there was a tornado warning, and we actually all had to go bunker down in his home. And they were very Californian, so like everyone was wearing their mask, and it's just like they're not used to having people around them because they're just been SIP all day because of fucking Comrade. Who's their governor again? Newsom, Comrade Newsom.
Wait,
it's some serious fascist shit.
Wait, when did the Terminator leave?
Oh, it was a while back. Yeah, it was a while back. It was like at least 2 terms ago, two senators ago. Yeah, I think we had before Newsom, we had this old guy that came back. He's just a career politician. I fucking forget his name. I should know his name, but I'm slowly turned into a Texan, so I just totally don't give a fuck about politics. Being somewhat progressive, but also being just like, don't give a fuck about politics. Definitely not being a fucking conservative. Like there's so many here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, when the vote came around, I ended up like I'm still registered in Florida. So I had to do a mail-in ballot. And like people were walking up to me, they're like, "Hey, are you registered here in Texas? Like, do you want to vote?" And I'm like, "No, I don't want to register here in Texas. Like, I'm Floridian. I'm just gonna do like a mail-in ballot." I'm like, and they're like, "Oh, well, how come you don't do it here since you live here?" I'm like, first off, because I'm voting Democrat, and I'm like, listen, there's no chance in hell I'm gonna be flipping Texas. All right, at least Florida's a swing state, so
sure.
There's a chance.
Yeah.
So yeah.
At least bro. At least you're educated on that shit. So.
Nah, not really. Only the presidential election. Like all of the midterm elections and all that stuff. Like I don't really follow. I'm really bad with all that.
Okay, so we went through a lot of topics. I think polar vortex was our final topic. Tell me, as someone that's a Floridian, what are some shit that you really appreciate living here in Dallas now for the last like few years?
Things that I appreciate.
Yeah.
Lower rent.
Okay, so cost of living, right? That's a big deal. That's fucking huge, bro. Don't laugh about that. That's a big deal, bro. That's why a lot of Californians are hated everywhere, all over the fucking US right now. Because, for the most part, a lot of Californians are making like a shitload of money, 6 figures, but then they fucking get to travel somewhere else now because California has always had like such a lack of affordable housing. So these people are like saying, fuck it, move elsewhere, right? And like in Idaho, in Texas, obviously, especially Texas, because like you were pointed out earlier, a lot of the companies coming here because it's like a bigger Nevada, right? It's like no state tax. So
right. Yeah. No, I mean, that's that, and just being, having DFW and being so central, being able to jump on a plane and go anywhere for at least, in the continental US for like a lot cheaper. Those are probably the biggest advantages of living here. I don't know, man. Something that was noticeable that I was actually talking to another friend of mine. Like I think I can't say really the dating scene. So I'm talking about pre-pandemic. The dating scene is all right. I could tell you that the girls here are probably a bit more real because you find a lot of fake people in Miami. And there's so many tourists there too that a lot of dating happens. And I would say maybe it's somewhat similar to New York also, where like it's tough to find if you wanted like a decent length relationship, it's harder in those places. So I think that at least people wise, I think you keep your friends pretty close here, and the relationships that you do establish are, in my opinion, maybe a bit more richer. But with that being said, I gotta say the talent is not as much there, obviously, compared to Miami.
Come on,
Like,
bro. You're fucking talking about Miami. I mean, I can say the same thing about Hawaii, right?
yeah,
And let alone, it's not
so
even,
that
I
was
would say
definitely a
talent.
downgrade.
I would
But
say talent. First of all, in Miami and Hawaii, the average temperature is usually about at least 79 to 88 degrees, and most people are naked, half naked. So
yeah,
it's not even so much a talent, it's just about good feeling, good vibes. Like, we're going back to nature. You say I'm a perv, I'm telling you, hey, guess what, you like the same thing I like. We're natural people, clothing just covers everything up. Get back to who we are, right? Fucking run around feeling good, being in fucking the sun. And that's what it is. I agree with you 100%. Obviously, when I'm out places, I'm not really like looking, right? But I'm still a guy, I look, right? I agree with you 100%. Yeah, definitely. It's Dallas seems like a city of sevens. It's not
City
like,
of Sevens. That's
yeah.
that's pretty ambitious, man.
Okay. I also don't want to lose subscribers. So
I mean, yeah. I mean, listen, you're in a state that likes to eat. Okay, I'll say, and let me tell you, I love me some barbecue any day. All right. But yeah, I mean, also, just coming from South Florida, like everyone is always working out, doing outdoor activities, trying to look good. And I don't know, maybe I haven't really made that much of an effort here to really like socialize in the outdoor exercise arena.
that's
But
probably what it is, bro. You need to go like some like, I don't know even know if they have opened up many rock climbing places or any of those kind of like social places where you can still kind of meet with people and it's not pervy, like
yeah, yeah,
obviously bars, people don't really go to bars. You meet up at brunch. That's pretty much it. So
yeah. I don't know, like just where I lived in like the downtown area in South in Miami, like you see people running around outside all the time. And I was one
sure,
of
sure.
those people. And like you also have like city and I haven't looked into it. Maybe there is here in Dallas. I wouldn't doubt it. Just like a citywide uh like every Wednesday you go running or something like that.
Yeah. So like connecting with people through activities and shit. That's some
Right.
dope shit. Like yeah, I 100% agree with that. I've never done like the dating apps. Not because I'm old, but I am. Uh but I think the closest thing to like a dating app I ever did was like Yelp. And that was like back in 2006. You were like
Yelp.
a Yelp. Were you junior high then?
How
I'm
how
dating myself.
how did you turn Yelp into a dating app?
Well, it initially, so it started in San Francisco, right, and New York, but San Francisco is where like all the founders, where the owners were. There's a bunch of PayPal guys that said, "Hey, let's do like a fucking, uh, uh, what is it? What was that for? What was that one thing where you meet people and it was
Meetup?
like place make, huh?
Meetup?
not meetup. It was like for something. It was a locational based type of business, but it was like it was trying like Facebook, but it was all about like where you're meeting or something. I forgot the fucking name of it. Huh?
Match.com?
Not Match. No. It was like, bro, I forgot the name of it. I'm not gonna think of it. Anyways, so Yelp had events. If you like did, I love to write. I loved words. So sometimes I write bullshit ass like shit about different places I go to. Being in
Reviews?
San Francisco, yeah, reviews, right? Real reviews, real people. There was something called Yelp Elite, and they always had big ass parties, and everything was on Yelp's dime for the Yelp Elite. So there's like 200 people maybe there, maybe sometimes less. Very exclusive, in San Francisco. But they would open up all the newest spots. That's how I met chicks back in the day, dude. Like I go to these Yelp events and like meet people. They're like, "Oh, you're Omar B," this and
Yeah.
that. Like, la la la. But a lot of my shit was just like whatever bullshit. And I just got out of like a long distance relationship with a girl in Japan. So I was just like, I guess going through some shit like where I was just like putting myself out there a little more than usual because otherwise I'd be like fucking sulking in a bar just drinking my beer down.
Yeah. Like, yeah, in Miami, it's like you don't need to go to really any scheduled events. Like there are just tons of events. If you go out anywhere, you're bumping into like hot chicks.
I bet.
Any restaurant, as long as you're going out, like
yes. What I also heard from my brother, because I've never been to Miami, my brother said that most places in Miami, you got to have, a little bit of dollar. It's like some expensive shit because all these girls are drink whores.
Okay, yes. To a certain extent. Here's the trick about Miami, and this is whatever small audience is watching this is a free piece of advice, okay? For all the women viewers, okay? If you're a half decent looking girl, okay, and if you are or not, okay? And this is you can not watch me, and I'm sorry, Omar, you might lose other viewers by this. Obviously,
I 100%.
I'm just gonna admit to my shallowness. Okay.
I'm the one that's always losing viewers. So please,
okay.
I don't mind you losing a few more.
Here's the pro tip: if you're a decent looking girl, all right, and you're in Miami, you get everything for free. And what I mean by that is, like, not just out on the dating scene or whatever, but like if you wanted to go to any bars or clubs, restaurants and things, like there are promoters everywhere. Okay. And if you're a decent looking girl, you can get into any nightclub, any whatever. And basically these promoters will take out like limos of women and take them all out to eat, drink, club, party, whatever, all on the promoter's dime. Because the promoters are getting comped also from the nightclubs. So they're giving them the money to say, hey, find hot chicks, take them out so they come into the club, because when you're getting to the club, I mean, they don't want to have like no chicks at the club and all dudes. So,
sure.
So basically, if you're a half decent looking girl, and I knew some girls who just took straight up advantage of all that, and
that's fucking beautiful. I love it. That's so beautiful.
At like 5-star restaurants and going out clubbing, drinking all for free all the time, never paid a dime. And I mean, if I was a decent looking girl, I'd be doing the same thing. And the thing is with Miami is that, like, if you become friends with people, and I'm talking about like real friends, and it's not even a trick, it's just becoming friendly with people and sociable. So like in my earlier years when I was night clubbing and stuff, like I would make friends with all the bouncers and all the people that worked at the clubs. And once you become friends with them, and like, I'm not just talking about like only hanging out with them or like shaking their hand when you actually meet them at the door. I'm talking about like, oh, if you're doing something like you're having a house party or you're doing a barbecue or you're going, you're doing something fun, and how you would normally interact with any of your other friends, like how you and I would go and watch the Super Bowl together.
Sure.
You hit them up, like you would actually be real friends, and boom, now you're friends with the people that work at the clubs. So now when you show up, hey Vince, what's up, man? Come on in. And you walk in. And so I know so many people, like guys or tourists or whatever. Obviously, if you're a tourist and you're going there, like they think it's expensive because you're paying $40 to get into a nightclub. But if it's like me and you, and that's my boy Brandon that's working the door, like you walk in like VIP and you're a boss, and you get in with your friends too. So whenever me and my friends would go out, because I knew all the bartenders, all the DJs, all the bouncers, like I knew all of them because we were all friends and we would all hang out.
Sure.
And they're like, oh, yo, Vince, what's up, man? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? Like, it's me, my boy Omar, his girl, got another couple of people showing up. Is it cool if, we all come in? Like, yo, come on in, man. And it's
that's
like,
fucking amazing, dude. That's okay. 100% agree. It makes me feel like I'm back home again. I think when you stay at one place long enough, you obviously everyone falls in love with you. You fall in love with people, and you just get connected. You get the fucking familia style shit going on,
Yeah.
And that's just what it is, man. I love that, dude. I can't wait to go to Miami. When's the last time you've been to Miami?
Like maybe a year ago, because I just had a dentist appointment. But
oh fuck.
Yeah.
that story will be a separate podcast.
Yeah.
So hey man, I really appreciate you fucking coming on tonight. We went through all of our shit. Do you have anything that I don't know, like what do you go on? Do you have like a handle on the interwebs that you go by on anything, or where people can learn a little bit more about Vince?
Yeah, if you guys want to learn more about me, hit up Omar and he'll tell you everything he knows.
Yeah,
and
so
if you want to get connected, talk to Omar, and we'll meet up.
There you go. Well, first you have to hit the subscribe button, and then I'll tell you all about Vince, and we'll all hang out. Obviously, you can find us at NerdinIn _ on Instagram, and you can find us NerdinIn everywhere else: YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. We don't have a lot of content up. People have been lagging, just what it is, and it's all good. Yeah, let us know though. Give us some feedback, because I know we have some subscribers and shit. I got some stuff to send out to some people. I've been real lazy. We have like these dope ass little NerdinIn dice that I fucking made, so I got to send them out for all the subscribers. Actually, next time I see you, I need to give you a pair. But thank you so much for tuning in and checking shit out, and let us know what's up.
Thanks everyone.